So in this video, I am going to show you the pattern I use for my Elowen cardigan. And in this swatch, I am going to make 23 stitches. Okay, these are my 23 stitches. And to start, I am going to chain extra 2. And these first 3 chains are going to be my first double crochet. So starting from here, I will skip 1 and into the 5th chain, I am going to work 1 double crochet. And then into the previous chain, from the front of my double crochet, I am going to work another double crochet. And this is how I make my first cross pair double crochet. And for this row, we are going to make 3 sets of cross pair double crochet, which is 1 cross pair followed with 1 double crochet, 3 sets of this. And then I'm going to work a set of the mesh stitches. I'm going to show you how I made it, followed with another 3 sets of cross pair double crochet. So in the next stitch, like I said, I am going to work 1 double crochet. And then another cross pair. So I skip the next stitch and into the next one, I make 1 double crochet. And then in the front of the double crochet that I just made, I'm going to work in the previous stitch that I skipped. And then 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Now I have 2 sets of the cross pair double crochet. I'm going to make another set. Skip 1, double crochet, and into the skipped stitch, double crochet. Then into the next stitch, I make a normal double crochet. Here are my first 3 sets. And for my mesh stitch, I'm going to chain 2, skip 1, and then work 1 single crochet into the next stitch, chain 2, skip 1, and work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Here, this is my mesh, and from here now I am going to work another 3 sets of cross pair double crochet. I skip 1, and then this one going to my skipped stitch. And 1 normal double crochet. Another set. This is my last set. Now I have 1 stitch left. I'm just going to work 1 double crochet in the last stitch. And here we go, this is our first row. To start the second row, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. And for this row, we are going to make puff stitch on top of our cross pair double crochets. So this pattern is the combination of 1 row of cross pair double crochet plus 1 row of puff stitch. And then we're gonna repeat like this. And for this swatch, I'm putting the mesh in the middle because later on, I also wanted to show you how I make the pleat in the Elowen cardigan. So for the second row, we chain 1. Doesn't count as a stitch. In the first stitch, we make 1 single crochet. Then we chain 2. And then in between these 2 double crochets, which is a cross pair, I am going to put my puff stitch. So to make the puff stitch, I yarn over, insert the hook in between the double crochets, draw up a loop 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. In total, I should have 7 loops on my hook. And this is when I grab the yarn and pull through all these 7 loops. This is how I made the puff stitch. And then I chain 1 to close my puff stitch and chain another 1 to make it even to the other side. And into the double crochet, 1 single crochet. Okay, let's repeat. Chain 2, make a puff stitch in between my cross pair double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook, grab the yarn once, yarn over, insert the hook, grab the yarn twice, and then a 3rd time. Like this. Then chain 2, 1 single crochet into the double crochet. Let's do it again. Chain 2, 1 puff in between the cross pairs. We're going to do it 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. 7 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops. Chain 2, put a single crochet on top of our double crochet. And now entering the section for the mesh stitch. In the puff stitch row, this row of the puff stitch, we are going to chain 2 and then put 1 double crochet on top of our single crochet. This is to even out the height. And then chain 2 and we put 1 single crochet here. And then we are going back to our puff stitch pattern repeat, just like what we did on the side before the mesh. Chain 2. This is the last one. Chain 2, and then our last single crochet should be work on top of the chain 3, because this chain 3 is our first double crochet, no? So let's work here, here, put 1 single crochet. This will be our last stitch on this row. And here we finish our second row. For the third row, we are going to chain 3, and just like our first row, these 3 chains are going to be our first double crochet. And starting from this row, all of our cross pair are going to work in to the chain 2 spaces before and after our puff stitch. So these two. And since we are going to do a cross pair, we are going to work into the second chain space first. So here we work 1 double crochet, and then to make it cross, we are going to work in the first chain 2 space. This is how it crosses, like this. And then we put 1 double crochet into the next single crochet. Let's do it again. The first double crochet is going to be worked in the second chain 2 space, so here. This is our first double crochet, and this is how we cross. This is our first chain 2 space, and from the front of the double crochet we just made, we are going to make a double crochet here. And then we are just going to do all the same thing for our third set. And 1 double crochet. Okay. And then on the mesh stitch part, we're going to chain 2 and then work a single crochet on top of the double crochet. Chain 2, work a double crochet on top of this single crochet. And then going back to our cross pairs. This is our last cross pair, and we are just going to make 1 last double crochet into the last single crochet. This is our third row, and from here we are just going to repeat the second and third row until we reach the height we need. So here I made several repeats of our row 2 and 3, and this is how it looks like. And I'm going to stop here now. And show you from the opposite side of our foundation chain to make the pleat, because this is how we construct this is the line that separates our upper and lower back from the pattern. So if you're reading the pattern, you will see the pattern ask you to reattach your yarn from the foundation chain of the upper back panel, and this is what I'm going to show you here. But of course, when you're working the cardigan, your panel will be much bigger than this. So I am going to reattach my yarn here. And along this side of our foundation chain, I am going to work single crochet into each chain stitches until I reach 4 stitches before the first chain 2 space of the middle mesh. So this is my middle mesh. This is my middle mesh, and this is the chain 2 space of the middle mesh. So 4 stitches before. which means 1, 2, 3, 4. I will make a single crochet into each chain stitches until I reach here. So the first one, and then into each stitch. Okay, from here we are 4 stitches before the chain 2 space of our middle mesh. So here is where I'm going to chain 6. And then continue to work my single crochet into each of the foundation chain. I'm going to work another 10 single crochets according to the pattern. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, these are my 10 single crochet, and I'm going to make another chain 6 now. And then continue to work my single crochet into each chains all the way to the end. Okay, now I finish my first row, where you will see on the sides of your middle mesh you will have these tiny loops, and these are the extra chain we are going to work in to create our pleat. So to start the next row, we chain 3, work as our first double crochet, turn our work, and cross pair into the next 2 stitches. And then in the next stitch we put 1 single crochet and repeat with the cross pair into these 2. And then put 1 double crochet into this. Okay, now we are entering our extra 6 chains, and here the tips here to work is to treat these chains as normal stitches, and keep in mind that we made 6 chains in total, so you should have enough space for 2 sets of cross pair plus double crochet. Okay, so we are going to put in the first 2 chains a cross pair double crochet. It is a little bit annoyed to work with, but I promise you this situation only happened in this row. As you can see here, our first chain is a little bit shrinked inside our previous stitch, so you just need to work your hook into it very carefully and consciously. So the first one in here, and then the second one here in this chain that's almost invisible. If it helps, just use your hook to pull the loop a little bit loosen before working into this chain. Okay, so this is our first cross pair, and then in the next chain just put 1 double crochet, and then into the next 2 a cross pair, and then into the next chain stitch, which is the last one here, 1 double crochet. And now we finish working on the extra chain stitches on this side. So now the previous one is a double crochet, so here we need to make a cross pair into these two. Here's my cross pair, and 1 double crochet here. And then judging from this part of our panel, we are entering the mesh stitch. So chain 2, skip 1, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 1, double crochet in the next. Here we finish the mesh stitch part. We're going back to the cross pair. So into the next 2 stitches, make a cross pair. And then 1 double crochet. This should be the last single crochet before our chain 6. Now entering the chain 6, we are going to work exact the same thing with the chain 6 stitches from this side. So since the previous one is 1 normal double crochet, in the next 2 chain we are going to make a cross pair. So we skip the first chain, work a double crochet into the next one, and then going back to the one we just skipped, we are going to make 1 double crochet. And then a double crochet into the next chain. And then to the next 2 chains, 1 cross pair. And then 1 double crochet. This will be our last chain. Like this. Now we finish working into our chain stitches. We're going back to the single crochet, and since we just finished 1 normal double crochet, in these 2 we are going to work a set of cross pair. And then 1 normal double crochet. So for the rest of the row, of course your panel should be much bigger than this swatch that I'm making. Just following the instruction for your size in the pattern. So here I am in the last stitch of this row for my swatch. And this is how it looks like when I finish my second row. The thing might look a little bit funny right now, with these 2 parts popping out, but once we build up the rows, you will see things start to make more sense. And for the next row, like the pattern before, we are going to make 1 puff stitch row on top of our cross pair double crochet rows. So we are just going to work our puff stitch in between our cross pair double crochets, exactly like before. And doesn't matter if our cross pair is sitting on top of normal single crochet or chain stitches, we are going to work our puff stitch across. And then when we are crossing the part for the mesh stitch, we are going to work the mesh stitch pattern. And now I am going to work my last stitch in this row and entering my next row. So from now, this is the pattern repeat we already know. We are going to work our cross pair inside the chain 2 spaces and then build 1 double crochet on top of the single crochets, and then work the mesh stitch pattern when we are crossing the mesh stitch parts. And for the rest, it's just about repeating these 2 rows to build up the pattern for our need. I am going to build up a few more rows here so the stitches will be more relaxed, and show you how I secure our extra stitches here to film the pleat, so they stop performing like 2 holes here. Okay, I am going to stop here now that I have several rows built up. Let me fasten off. And now I would like to talk about how we are going to fix the stitches here. So this is the right side of our work. And the look we are aiming to achieve is to have the middle mesh along with the puff column before and after it forming as a continuous surface for our pleat. So in other words, we don't want our stitches to be folded like this. Okay, we wanted to have the fold behind. So this is how we want our fold to be like. So for the extra stitches, we are going to put them behind from the back, and then these are the 6 chain we made. No, we are going to fix the stitches in this way. So we are going to take a darning needle and yarn, the same yarn we used here so it doesn't show, and fix these 3 layers. One is this, one this, and one this. Fix these 3 layers together. So in the right side, it will show like this. And the same thing goes with the other side. And that's it. These are the notes and tips I would like to leave in the video format for my readers who's making my Elowen cardigan. I hope you find this video helpful, and I hope this gives you more confidence when working on this stitch and techniques. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!